So I like to do a proper video on this. I have attempted a number of times, and I feel like every time I try to do it, it fails. So I'm gonna do it again. I like to say that with things going on with lolcow queens, before we go forward, I want to look back at the last couple episodes dealing with Grace Becky, right? And I want to look and really say that a lot of the faults and the things that ended up happening was a result of Becky. And though I really want to put all the blame on Becky, a lot of the blame can easily also be put on Grace and Keem, right? But we're gonna start with Becky and move forward. With Becky, I believe that the fault comes from her want of money. She wanted more money, but I believe that she, in some way, believed in her moral crusade against Grace and Ben. Fair enough. The issue is that her argument was about platforming. And platforming doesn't really matter because a lot of people, when they talk about locale, like look at White Bowser, for instance, right? Smokey MC had White Bowser a number of times on his show, on his YouTube, talked about him constantly. There was this whole saga between the both of them. It was just very long and expansive, right? Even, Kiwi Tape was involved. And he, by that logic, he platformed him. How many people made videos on Christian and all the things Christian has done? By that logic, they're platforming. Heck, look at Boogie and Wing. By that logic, Keem is platforming them. So I feel like Becky choosing to attack Grace was more of not really less. It wasn't about being moral to some extent, but it was more about monetary gain, right? It was about monetary gain over a moral crusade. The moral crusade was just meant to hide her need for money. Basically, that's what it is. And I do blame Becky a lot for that because it led to a domino effect of just them constantly talking about Grace and her father, Ben. Now, let's move to Grace. Grace had a lot of faults. And I would say that partially, or at least like more than a quarter, is on her too. I think because with her being related to Ben and them taking the trolling so far, it resulted in them gaining that reputation of what they did. Whether or not it's true, it's up to you to believe. I'm not here to sway your opinion one way or another. That is up to you. I feel like that is not my place to convince you. I'm just presenting the information as it is, right? With that, I would also put some of that blame on the same time with Keem because Keem kept talking about Ben, right? And it's fair game. Now, obviously, I do agree that Keem, I would say that Keem firing Grace was crazy, but he was willing to give her a second chance. And I would also say that Grace crazy drama and everything events, led to a lot of things. And if you didn't hear the news, Grace is back. How long she's gonna last, I don't know. It's not my place to say. However long it's gonna last, however long it's gonna be, it's not my place to say. All I want is a good show, and if Grace provides that, same thing with Becky and Tanya, I will be happy no matter what. But ultimately, the blaming on all of this saga is on those three, for a number of reasons. But yes, and I could keep going on and on about this. I could go on about how this saga, and I will talk about this saga once lolcowqueen kind of pops onto the scene, right? I will talk about it. Even leaving. Oh my god! I don't know why I'm repeating myself. Apologies for that. I had a bit of a moment, but really, I'm just gonna cut this a lot shorter because I have tried to make, well, not make, but I try to record this a number of times. I felt like each time I did, I felt like I condensed it more and more, and really was cutting the fat off of what I was trying to say because I felt that I want to be entertained. But I also have to acknowledge that the fault and what led to this current saga, and I do want to keep saying it's Becky's fault, and it is. But I also have to acknowledge that some of the blame had to be put on Keem and Grace. For Keem, he should have made a contract that at least I would say locked down Grace so she wouldn't do anything crazy or dumb, and he should have explained all the rules of YouTube and everything. Should have done that. Good thing they apologized. Grace I know she's young. I know she's energetic. I know she has sort of like screw the world mentality. The world is my oyster. But also, you kind of have to understand that once you're on YouTube and that's your source of income, things will be used against you. Things will be, you know, can bring you down easily, and you have to take responsibility. And they kind of did. And Becky ultimately, you could say that ultimately all three of them had learned their lesson, and that we're gonna get a great show, and we will. But until then, I still blame Becky. I feel like I finally was able to condense everything, and in the end, we also be happy for a show that it's gonna come on. Till then, y'all, I hope you have a great one, and God bless, and be safe.